Kong has never steered away from using weapons in combat. Trees, boulders, fists, lightning, kaiju scorpion chain thing, and of course, the axe. But in the upcoming movie, is there a chance that Kong could acquire a new weapon, or maybe even weapons, that would make the axe look like a back scratcher? In this theory video, we're gonna show you some realistic and not so realistic weapons that could change the fate of the monsterverse once wielded by the mighty Kong, and describe these tools of war's strengths, as well as hindrances upon the kaiju battlefield. Before we get into it, tell me what weapon you would like to see the ape use as he takes on the Hollow Earth down below in the comments. Alright everyone, let's get to it. For many moviegoers, seeing a giant ape wield an axe in Godzilla vs. Kong was not very jarring at all. After all, apes have long been able to use tools in order to get the job done. But what are some realistic ideas when it comes to one-upping Kong's prior weapon? This first idea is not a new weapon exactly, but instead the addition of a giant shield. More specifically, this gigantic tortoise shell he found in some hole hidden in the Hollow Earth. I wonder which Titan it could be from. A shield and axe combo, like the warriors of old, would allow Kong to close the distance without having to parkour around like those people who play professional tag. Being an improvised tool, the shell shield could show Kong's natural tool-building big brain power. And with it coming from a giant Hollow Earth creature, we know that its defensive capabilities would be Titan tier, allowing Kong to now easily block most incoming attacks. A shield is a simple device, but requires great strength to wield effectively. Brute power is something Kong is not lacking in, so after some time getting used to the idea of the shield, the giant ape's capabilities with an axe and shield may be all that is needed for most challenges. It would only be a matter of time before Kong starts putting down axe and shield combos like Kratos. For the shield's pros, its size and strength increases protection and defense for Kong. It also adds another option for melee strikes and combos. And overall, it increases tactical combat abilities. For the shield's cons, the immense weight of something like this would be heavy and stifling to the user, and in the end, it could give a false sense of security if the user's guard is let down. The next weapon proposal for Kong, the spear. The ape's already shown that he has the basic understanding of a spear-like weapon. If he was able to throw a tree trunk like Tom Brady, then he surely would be able to launch a deadly weapon designed for that sort of thing. A spear was one of the very first weapons, not just for war, but in general in human history, and was a weapon that nearly all cultures across the globe had developed in their own way. It's a weapon that's difficult to master, but that anyone can learn. If our ancient human ancestors were able to learn how to wield this primitive weapon, then no doubt Kong can as well. Able to be used as a projectile, long enough to keep plenty of distance between its handler and their target, and of course that pointed end, that with the right variables occurring, could skewer titans much larger than Kong. But the weapon is not without some downfalls. A well-placed strike could snap the shaft in half, and if an enemy managed to get past the pointed end of the weapon, its length would make it almost useless during melee brawls. Whether it's another ancient relic discovered like the axe, or if modern mankind develops a 400-foot spear for Kong, it would be easy to introduce into this series without raising too many eyebrows. For the spear's pros, its length increases attack range. It also has the ability to be used as a projectile and flung at enemies from a distance. And overall, it's simply a balanced offensively and defensively weapon. But what about the spear's cons? It can be broken rather easily, and once the distance between the target and the user is closed, it loses a lot of effectiveness. Our next idea for a weapon is much less graceful. A mighty warhammer. Kong's a big meathead. And what's a big meathead's favorite weapon in cinema? A freaking warhammer. Once again, a tool that could be found in the Hollow Earth or crafted by modern humans, and do a ton of damage to anything it makes contact with. A brutish weapon like a warhammer would be something Kong could master fairly quickly once he understands how to distribute the massive weight of the hammer and use the correct form to not put himself in a vulnerable position. In the matter of a few days, I could see Kong crushing skulls, rib cages, and anything that dares to challenge him with this big ol' hammer. Warhammer Pros. It has increased stopping power. One hit with that thing in the right area and you're down. Its longer shaft increases attack range, allowing the user to keep a distance from their target. And at the end of the day, seeing your enemy carry one of these things is enough to scare the crap out of anyone. But it does come with cons. Its heavy weight and awkwardness results in slow movement and can be encumbering to the user. And it lowers defensive capabilities when missed strikes leave the user open to counterattacks. But what if Kong wanted to be more hands-on? Dual-wielded blades are lighter, faster, and in the hands of a skilled warrior, just as effective as their larger counterparts. In the lore for the Monsterverse Kongs, it was already discovered that the beasts had the ability to handcraft primitive weapons, the axe being a prime example of this. If they made an axe, they probably had weapons that resembled knives as well. So imagine Kong finding these in some ancient tomb, like it was a video game. And with these, Kong would require little training. He's already a proven hand-to-hand combat fighter, with precise slices and stabs. Kong could quickly overwhelm most foes with the dual blades. But the blades would do little to help block incoming strikes, and would once again force Kong to rely on his speed and cardio to finish off greater threats. Dual-bladed pros. Having two weapons in the hands of a skilled warrior, the speed of the two blades swinging at their target would be overwhelming. These smaller weapons would increase the user's speed and agility during combat. With daggers in each hand, a skilled warrior could deliver overwhelming strikes to their target. And outside of combat, the blades could help with maneuvering through the hollow earth. But it does have some cons. The smaller weapons would deliver less damage per strike. They would also decrease the defense of the user, and they have a small range of effectiveness. So let's just throw realism out the door and go nuts with these next ideas. First off, we have a railgun rifle, or a Gauss cannon. Using magnetic force, a railgun is able to fling a projectile so fast that it's capable of breaching most defenses. This is actually a real-world weapon, so it's plausible for the Monsterverse to have its more sci-fi take on modern technology tone and have mankind create a high-power rifle of sorts for Kong. Now, teaching a Titan how to use a gun is, well, hard to grasp, but if there is one that can do it, it's gonna be Kong. If the weapon was designed for super simplicity and user-friendliness, perhaps having a reset charge that will allow Kong to not worry about reloading the weapon, we could see a Kong capable of taking down targets from miles away before they even have a chance. However, it would take some time for Kong to be comfortable with and master this weapon. Remind me of the last time you saw an animal shoot a rifle. But with Kong's advanced intellectual prowess and overall curiosity, learning this skill is within the realm of possibility in this universe. Railgun Pros. Its ability to shoot projectiles long distances increases the effective range of fire. Nowhere would be safe. And if one of these rounds did manage to hit its target, it's a good chance they're gonna go down. Railgun Cons. It would in one way or another rely on ammo, meaning it's only effective as long as there's things to be flung out of it. This is a human weapon, unknown to Kong in the natural world. It's gonna take time for him to become used to it. And it has low defensive usefulness. You don't really block stuff with guns. The next idea is something a sexual tyrannosaur would absolutely get hot and bothered about. A minigun, otherwise known as a chain gun. Just imagine one of these, but kaiju-sized and held by a wild monkey. I really don't even have to explain why this would be epic to see. Once again, Kong loading his own ammunition is unlikely, but as long as the weapon was preloaded with energy-based rounds, it could cause a lot of damage. With a weapon like this, Kong would be almost unstoppable. Hundreds or thousands of rounds being spewed every minute. The only significant downsides to this weapon would be its immense weight and awkwardness to handle, as well as that it will eventually run out of ammo. Let's recap the minigun pros. It has a very high ammo capacity, its increased rate of fire, can spew out thousands of rounds a minute, and we can't forget its suppressive capabilities. The cons are, it's very heavy and encumbering. Good luck carrying this thing all day. And at least in reality, it has a limited ammo supply. Some of these weapons might just make the cut in the next movie, and others may just remain crazy fanfiction. However, the use of weaponry, both primitive and sci-fi, by Kong and possibly even others of his kind hidden and lost somewhere in the far reaches of the Hollow Earth, is not a far-fetched thought. And who knows what we will eventually see in the big future of the Monsterverse. So residents, I got a mission for you guys. If this video gets over 50,000 views and 3,000 likes, I'll go ahead and make a follow-up video discussing the possibility of Kong getting some nice new armor in the next movie, so he can handle more damage from upper tier titans like Godzilla. So out of our weapons on this list, let me know which you would rather see make the cut in the next movie. See you in the next one, guys. Jacob out.